We know that about a dozen of those, and that number changes day to day, but about a dozen of those patients are asymptomatic, are meeting criteria to return. And so we're just waiting on the green light to move them back to their homes in residence at Midland Medical Lodge.
So as we get back to doing things, opening up the economy, getting back to work, getting back to restaurants and doing things, let's please be thoughtful about that and be respectful of those who are around, and be careful about what you're touching and who you're touching and how close you are to individuals that you're not familiar with.
Midland Medical Lodge activated its disaster preparedness plan in light of calling the rapid response team. And we also were the ones who called the rapid response team on site, because that's a mechanism that we have at our disposal when we're unable to mitigate the spread in the facility with our personnel.
So part of the intersessional calendar, or the calendar that, year round, whatever we may reference it to, speaks to probably every 9 weeks, there's a 2-week break. And so with that, we know that we've got to develop or think about a calendar that works that way. So a few board meetings ago, when we were presenting our traditional calendar, we brought to the community as well what a year-round calendar could look like that would have these very components built in. It does have a July start date. You still get the same holidays and things off, but you get an increased time during the holiday break, as well as other times that offset what that could look like.
Today we'll be going through the courthouse with the health department to look over the measures we put in place so that we can open back up to keep everybody safe. The one concern we have is the courts. Right now there are no jury trials. The beginning of things we can do to help stimulate our economy as we come out of this. I hope all taxing entities and all local businesses will put this into practice whenever possible.
It's not a new day of fear, but it is a new day of just paying attention once again to human responsibility. Also recognizing that all of us have begun to realize in a new and a fresh way how important being around people is, as we have been isolated in our homes and in different places. In the midst of all the different data that shows up, all the different studies that show up that have very little longevity to them, there is something we know for certain, and that is our elderly populations and those who have extenuating health conditions are the ones most susceptible. That has been consistent through this whole. I want to finally, or pretty close to finally, also just remind everybody how important our public school system is. I'm deeply, deeply concerned about our children that we've lost contact with through no fault of MISD.